After 5. I'm Catherine Goldsmith.
And if you can't handle me at my Chaz, you don't deserve me at my Redhead.
Can anyone handle Chaz Redhead?
I'm very nervous about today's show.
Why? We have musical guests, the Dirty Blondes, Graham Dixon from the Improv School, the Free Association, and mixologist Cyan Wong.
No, that sounds all great, but...
What is it?
I've worn the wrong socks.
I don't know what to say. Do you think you can soldier on?
Only time will tell.
Do you want to see the titles? Come on then.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform.
Now, we're kicking things off with something really exciting, our first musical performance. I tried to listen to them in preparation, as I am a professional, and despite 12 minutes of ads on Spotify, I heard 30 seconds of musical genius right before my phone died. Please welcome a slightly longer song from the Dirty Blondes.
Money talks and poverty walks. Wherever I go, whatever I see, there's always someone telling you to be. They train you to think why you're supposed to care, how you're supposed to speak, and what you're supposed to wear. You gotta run, 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 run away. Run, 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 run away. Well, vanity prosper, you gotta chase fame. It's all about the money, exploited is the rain. When abysmal is the cold, that everybody everywhere shall be scared of growing old. You gotta run, 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 run away. Run, 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 run away. Run there, run there, run there, run there, run their way. Run there, run there, run there, run there, run their way. But oh, you gotta play with love, fill up your life, make it right. Oh, you gotta play with words through all your life, make it worthwhile. And then we all go home.
Well done. Permission to come aboard, Skipper? Thank you. Fantastic performance. Well done. Well, the first question on my mind is, how do such an incredible group of very talented people come together?
Oh, well, all of our energies come from different places in the universe.
Interesting.
And we met up in England, actually. All of our energies met up, and we like to write stories about Earth people and...
Exactly. So the energy's
You an
travelled
Earth
from
person?
far-flung... Unfortunately, I'm very dull, and I am Earth, Milky Way
Oh,
galaxy.
there's nothing wrong with it. Just very special people.
Ah, very,
Cultures.
very kind of you to say. Now, where can people hear more of you guys? When can they see you?
Yeah, we've got a show that we're headlining in Camden on the 12th.
Camden on the 12th. What's the name of the
Dublin
venue?
Castle.
What, the what?
The Dublin Castle.
The Dublin Castle on the 12th.
And then near you can check the websites and Facebooks and all that.
All right. Well, congratulations on a fantastic performance, all of you. Well done. Loved it so much. Now, video games. If you've played them, you know they're engaging, entertaining, and have online communities that are warm, welcoming, and absolutely no one says awful things about your mother. Let's find out where they rank in today's End of the Decade.
I've got to say Call of Duty World War II. That was a pretty good one.
Probably stuff like Fortnite. I reckon they've actually made more money than stuff like GTA 5 where they just sell the game and then that's it.
Rainbow Siege. Yeah, that one was pretty good.
It would be at least a Super Mario. A Red Dead, I'm not sure, perhaps. This is not Borderlands, is it?
Oh, I don't know why I didn't say this one.
I've not got it myself, but a mate of mine's got it, so I've played it and I know of it. Yeah, I mean, Fortnite was one of my guesses, and that's basically like a free rip-off of PUBG, but with like some building.
I like the graphics. I remember when it came out on Xbox, the graphics were dreadful, but it was just so much fun. I used to team up with my friends, and we used to just rip it out of each other. And it was just a really good game. I really enjoyed it.
You just go around shooting people up and stealing. And you can build stuff. You can do blocks. It's like The Sims. It's a low poly version of it, and that's it really, but I don't know, I've never been interested in playing.
So I remember this game when it first came out. This was like the game to play. Everyone had it.
Now on to some news headlines.
Two years ago, the explosive news broke that dozens of women were allegedly sexually assaulted by Harvey Weinstein.
It inspired the international Me Too movement.
Investigative journalist Ronan Farrow's newly published book, Catch and Kill: Lies, Spies and Conspiracy to Protect Predators, charts the story of Weinstein's decades of alleged rape and sexual assault of women in the film industry. Farrow says, at the highest level, Catch and Kill is a story about burying the truth and circles of mutual protection amongst powerful people in the media and in politics. Farrow's book exposes this web of intrigue around Weinstein in America. It's a story that is stranger than fiction. Catch and Kill is currently Amazon's #1 bestseller, and you can catch it online and in bookshops now.
The BP Portrait Award exhibition will no longer be displayed at the Scottish National Portrait Gallery in Edinburgh. The National Galleries of Scotland admitted that for many people, the association of this competition with BP is seen as being at odds with its aim to reduce the impact of climate change. The oil giant has sponsored the Portrait Award for over 30 years. The Scottish National Portrait Gallery, who has featured the entries for the last 10 years, has decided that this is the final time that Edinburgh will display the BP portraits.
The 2020 Blue Peter Book Award has announced the collection of tales Rise Up, Ordinary Kids with Extraordinary Stories by Amanda Lee has been shortlisted for their prestigious Children's Book Prize in Best Books with Facts category. It features the inspirational teenage environmental activist Greta Thunberg, whose story sparked a global movement, the effects of which we are still feeling. Lee's book is a collection of extraordinary stories of survival, where children can lose themselves in remarkable true-life tales of ingenuity, courage and commitment.
Very impressive. Now, Catherine, has your face ever been featured on a billboard without you knowing about it? Thought so. This happened to Mel B of the Spice Girls. The official Scary Spice was featured wearing her iconic leopard print jumpsuit on Tesco's Clubcard Plus advert recently. A Tesco spokesperson has said they had authorization to use her image. This was certainly news to Mel B. She has asked Tesco CEO Dave Lewis to contact her urgently on both her Twitter and Instagram accounts. Although Mel B was featured in the Tesco 2007 Christmas campaign and was paid alongside her fellow Spice Girls, clearly this ad shocked her. Good shocked face.
Have you ever looked around our immaculately designed set and wondered, where do they get these amazing pieces? Well, they won't tell me. I'm escorted by security and my reserved parking space is in High Wycombe, but here's a pile of stuff you might also like and can actually buy. I'll just be here, definitely not stealing anything.
Happy Valentine's Day! Lucy?
My father's first car.
The public library.
In my grandmother's bathroom.
That's it, that's it. Almost! Pearson Education. We all start somewhere.
My mummy died to the zoo one time. There was a caterpillar and played with my sister toys. We turned round and round and round and then we get off. That'll be my birthday.
Did you know? The optimum temperature of the human body is 37 degrees Celsius. Below this, human flesh begins to freeze. The cold penetrates so deep it settles into muscles, tendons, and even bone marrow. At this stage, the human body will do anything to get out of the cold. Anything. Please, give them another choice. Donate.
What's the matter, pal?
Oh, nothing.
Ah, come on, you can tell Papa Chaz. We're all friends here at Laugh.
Laugh?
Life After 5.
Oh. It's just that last performance. I didn't rock it hard enough.
I think you're being harsh on yourself.
You really think so? Or are you just saying that?
I mean, look, I'm just a presenter, but your fills are weak, you went to the bridge too early, you definitely rushed the chorus, and you kicked the bass pedal too hard.
Yeah, I broke the skin.
Yeah, that might affect the sound.
I thought it was rock and roll.
Rock and roll doesn't come from here. It comes from here. Yeah? Now, you have another song at the end of the show, and I expect to see fireworks. No dragging, no rushing, just hardcore, sweet, sweet stick work. You need to take us to Rocktown. It's after 5, goddammit! You need to drive us there! And don't stop for red lights.
You're right.
Oh, hey, Catherine.
Is he giving you a rock and roll pep talk?
Yeah.
Don't worry, happens every show. Laugh was born to rock. In this age of social media, everywhere you look, the profile of food has been raised. I've left pineapple on pizza pending, and I've had to block sprouts twice. Our next sequence chronicles the rise of a North London culinary sensation, Munch Club TV. He updates his legion of followers with cooking antics from his very own kitchen. I won't even let Alexa make me watch beans on toast.
My name is Nyasha Sakutukwa and I am Munch Club TV. Munch Club TV is a few things. It's an online entity, which is myself cooking up with influencers, grime MCs, rappers, anyone in between, and that's what we post online. The bigger picture is the awareness we want to raise around food poverty. It's really important that everyone knows as much as possible that there's a lot we can do to help it, and how we kind of do that is by putting on events where people can come and watch me cook and they donate for these charities, and it's all this one lovely thing that we all kind of do to help each other. If you're ready, should we get into it? Yeah. Should we get into it? Yeah, yeah. Wow. God, hands up if you've done this before. So, what we're gonna make today is a tostada. Got a lovely bit of salmon, which we're gonna fry, and we're gonna have like a garnish of some sort with red onion, which we're gonna put in some orange, lime, some herbs, and just make that kind of really fresh. And then we'll top it off with the guac, and then we'll go from there. I feel as if there's not enough information about how to cook simply. A lot of things are about technical cooking, maybe having to have like a lot of equipment to cook, especially with these 15-minute meals. 30-minute meals is, it's very technical, and I'd like to just make it a lot simpler. Whenever you have like a taco in like in Mexican restaurants or your pop-up stalls, it's going to be with this flour. So what we're going to do is take a cup of flour into a bowl, and at the same time I've got some warm water here, essentially a cup of that, and what we want to do is just mix this in slowly but surely. So next what we're going to do is season the salmon. So do I have anyone who wants to help? Hand up over there. Liam, I've spotted you. I'm gonna get you up later. Now I've got 2 people. Come on down. What's missing from the British food scene? I would say a couple of things, I guess. I feel as if there's not a lot of diversity in media, so hopefully I can be someone to add. What's your name, sorry?
Linda.
Linda. Hi, Linda. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Thank you. I'm living. Absolutely living. So what we're going to do is we're going to season this salmon. So this is some oil, olive oil. If you could just squeeze, like just squeeze like a little bit, just like, just like, perfect. Wow, what a touch.
I know.
Slightly bit more.
I'm gonna go crazy.
Perfect. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, just take some salt and just salt base them just like that. Yeah, you got to break up the ting a bit more. So yeah, no, I get it. Like, so you kind of get it in your finger. Yeah, yeah. Oh, now we're salting this up a bit too much. That's fine. That's fine. And if you could just crack some pepper over there as well. Thank you. And then just sprinkle. This is oregano that we've got here. And just whack that on as well. So what we could do the night before, if you could just cut this, which is an orange, cut that in half, and if you could just slice me some radishes like this for you. Right, so we're just going to do like a little garnish for this. So what I've got here is a red onion. We've got some and some radishes. So what we're going to do is kind of mix all of these things together, and again just allow them to sit and marinate in the flavour that we're giving them. I want to just bring more new people into cooking, but people who maybe feel it's very complicated to cook. Just make it as simple as possible and as fun as possible, and that's food should be fun. So that's what I want to do. So what we're going to do is just brush it. So do you want to just grab the brush and just brush it on there. So as you can see, we've got a crisp here just like that. Can you see? There you go. Wow. Teamwork makes the dream work. And you kind of see it's very. Tola, our work here is done. Thank you so much. Have a big thank you so much. Cheers. Right. Let's finish this off, please. Right. So, pop these on the plate like that. Have a spoon. Yes, I do. And there's really no expert way of doing this. Normally what I'd do as well, I'd obviously take the skin off, but we're just going to go from here, and we're just going to take bits of this flaky salmon skin, and then we're going to follow up with all of these little accoutrements that we've got here. So we've got the onion, the radishes, which I think are okay, Leo, but we can, that's fine. And obviously you've got all your herbs in there as well. Fresh ingredients. We're gonna get this guac as well. I'm just gonna put like a dollop of guac on there. And there you go. There's your pretty little plate of food. And so those are tostadas with chipotle salmon and guacamole and citrus onion relish. There.
a delicious course of cooking with a salivating side order of philanthropy. I've spoken to my television sommelier, that's a wine big nose to us plebs, and he said that sequence pairs nicely with a bit of sculpture. World-renowned sculptor Tuan Adams is here to take us through the twisted metal of Antony Gormley at the Royal Academy. Bon appétit.
Yes, we have Tuan Adams here. How are you?
Shocked at being world-renowned, obviously.
Well, you are here at Life After 5. We sent you to the Royal Academy, as Chas said. And so maybe just before we have a chat to you, we can have a little look at that exhibition. So take a look at this. Wow, it looks fascinating.
Yes, that's...
Yeah, so, well, tell us about what you saw, what you liked, what you didn't like.
Well, Antony Gormley's known for his body casting and sticking them all over buildings and messing up what you think about space. And in this show, he really pushed it and filled rooms with great big kilometres worth of tangled steel, and you felt like a little mouse in a field. And it was a really good physical experience. And then the Matrix, grids upon grids, and the layer, just like the movie, you know, behind the structure of reality and all of that. So he really played with the space, and I don't know why he gets such a kicking all the time, because people say he's just, oh, those bodies, but the bodies are great. They flip you. It's called Lost Horizon, and there's ones coming out the wall, coming off the ceiling. And so you really get that physical experience when you're there, and I would highly recommend everyone going and having a look.
And do you think, it sounds like you did you think it really showed off his talent then?
In my view, took him to another place. Didn't think he was that adventurous, and it was very clever. I saw some of his tricks, I'm pleased to say, but then I'm a welder, so I could figure it out. But I won't tell anyone what the tricks were.
Don't give away the secret.
But I mean, kilometres worth of steel, big steel wound around each other, filling this void. It's something.
I heard they had to strengthen the foundations for it.
Yes, they did, and I don't even know how they attach things to walls, because those walls aren't particularly sort of solid. And the funny thing with that little baby sitting in the piazza outside, it's a tiny little newborn size, and it's shocking. I don't know why. He calls it the bomb. It reminded me of a picture I saw once of a dead, abandoned female child outside an Indian temple, and maybe that's why it shocked me, but it was so tiny and defenceless, but so powerful.
Yeah, I kind of got that even just from seeing it on the screen.
It's well worth seeing.
So, obviously, we can't let you leave without talking about you and your work. So, do you want to tell us a bit about what you do and where we can see it?
Yes, well, where can you see it? You can go to Birmingham. I have a bit of a canvas in Birmingham and Cab Verde. You can go, and hopefully in Oxford Street and Marylebone sometime in the next year or so. I like big bits of tangled steel. It's a new area of mine, so when I saw the Gormley, I was very blown away. And basically anything to do with steel, I think I'm a frustrated builder. And welding at great height, yes. It's got to be huge. It's got to be 10, 20 metres.
Love it. And what about deluge?
The deluge? Yeah, strangely, I did that many years ago, and I promise I didn't copy Antony Gormley. I swear to God I did not. And I got these bodies and hung them, and I would have loved to have done 20 or 30 bodies.
Wow.
But that was about our headlong rush into disaster as we go, thinking that we're all on top of the thing, but the world is collapsing around us and we're just blissfully unaware.
Wow.
That's what that was about.
Amazing. And what about a piece called Dolphin?
The Dolphins, that was just in a big atrium of a hotel in Cab Verde, and that was fun. Just in the atrium, and to make people think what a flash space this is.
And you've got a piece called Phoenix as well?
That was the tangled steel that I did in an antique, Middle Eastern antiques market in central London in Marylebone. And I had to cram in about 2 kilometres worth of steel into a 2-floor stairwell. You can't even see the whole thing.
It must take some moving.
Well, you can't move it. It's
No.
welded into the
Yeah.
structure. It will never fall down. The building will fall long before.
And have you got anything sort of in the pipeline, anything big? What are we looking forward to
Yes,
next?
I do. I have a giant thing that I'm going to try and plonk into the middle of Oxford Street, yes.
Oh, yes. Is that all you're giving away for now?
Well, let's call it the Vortex for now.
Ooh!
It's called the Vortex, and it's about London's underground rivers.
Oh, wow.
And it's going to be glass and steel, and it should be about 8 metres tall.
Wow.
So, you know, keep your hat on Anish Kapoor, I'm telling you.
Love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a real pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you.
All right, I just found out Twan Adams created my favourite sculpture. It's in Birmingham, it's called The Green Man, and it's massive. But I don't have anything for her to sign, so I'm making my own version out of stuff I found around the set. It is not going well. I've got 2 minutes to come up with a better idea. You watch some ads, we'll reconvene here. See you in a bit.
The house is warm. Oh. Sweet dreams.
He's here! He's here!
It's fine. Please.
Jack! Jack, please!
That wasn't the card you meant to read.
What was the card I was meant to read?
I don't know. It was more formal. It was less...
Anatomical? I made it with my bum.
My father's first car.
The public library.
In my grandmother's bathroom.
That's it, that's it. Almost! Pearson Education. We all start somewhere.
The FA, or Free Association, is the leading improv training academy in London, and it's celebrating its big 5-year anniversary. They make things up on the spot, precious things forged from whimsy, lunacy and glitter at the core of human existence. And if I'd gone there, I might have improvised this link instead of reading it badly from an auto cue. It's a lot to take in, so here's Graham Dixon to explain it all.
You start to spend a lot of time when thinking about your games, thinking about like how to make sure you're playing the right point of view and it feels grounded or blah blah. A thing that actually goes out the window quite quickly as people develop, as they get to this sort of level, is remembering just the really simple importance of pattern. How like a game needs to repeat. You have to see you have to see the repetition of it. You have to see the pattern. That's first of all what establishes it as a game. I just want to see you start the scene and get to the first bit where we sort of see the game.
Yeah, and I just want to like.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm scared about.
Okay.
That's what I'm scared about because you said I'm gonna hold the screw.
Okay, pause. Great. So yeah, Hayley, tell us what your unusual point of view is.
Just like because my brother is good at a thing,
Yeah.
therefore I'm like allegedly good at it.
Yeah, great. So I will back up and just refocus on this in a minute. just one quick thing. I think part of the reason why George isn't getting this as loud and clearly as he could is that you also made it about the fact that your brother's a DIY renegade sort of thing. So I think like that's also being a little bit shiny over here as well.
Right.
So that potentially might be distracting George, right, George?
Yeah, should I have just come out and said that just because your brother does it?
Yeah, so I think
sorry.
That ultimately is what we should still be looking to do ideally. Looking to sort of like frame a game as sort of simply and succinctly as we can.
So, welcome to our show. I've heard that you're Graham Dixon.
I've heard that you are Chaz Redhead.
Agree to disagree. So, we've seen some footage of your teaching. Yeah. There's a lot happening in that classroom. Talk to us a little bit about teaching, your process as well.
I wish there was more happening. There's a bit it's a bit too much of actually just me talking and stumbling over my words. But yeah, so that was a small coaching session I was running. And they're slightly more experienced improvisers, which is why it didn't look like they were having much fun, because I was putting them through their paces a bit more.
You were going Full Metal Jacket on them.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. They all of their firearms were just out of shot, but
that's right.
Yeah.
The Spacework firearms.
Yeah.
Now, this is the Free Association specialises in something called long-form improv.
Yes.
Now, what is the difference between long-form and short-form improv?
Well, yeah, I mean, even those two things are probably quite confusing to most people. But yeah, like I would say that we're an improvised comedy school and theatre, and we specialise in long form. It's quite a sort of age-old debate, I guess, like what the difference is between long form and short form. I prefer to think of it as short form is the kind of improv where you're told this is the game you're going to play, like a sort of whose line is it?
Yes, I was about to say probably the most famous example.
Yes.
Short form improv is whose line is it anyway?
Yeah. And I think long form is typically how I like to think of it, is where you are discovering the game in the middle. But it can be anything. It can be narrative, long form, so you're telling a full sort of story, or it could be more sort of sketch based.
That's an interesting thing you mentioned, the idea of discovering the game within the scene. Would you say that's a foundational aspect of the FA's teaching method?
Yes, I would. That is a sort of core principle of what we teach, and I think where improv becomes really fun and interesting, for me at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think why improv's so sort of fun and exciting and why it's having a bit of a moment at the moment is because it's so accessible to everyone. Anyone can pick it up and start it. You don't need to have any sort of performance background, and it's really just about learning these incredible skills to help you improvise and be funny.
Wonderful.
But as you get more into it, it sort of becomes about what we call finding the game of the scene, which is really just finding what is funny, what's funny in the scene that you're doing, and how you can learn to play it to keep it being funny.
Interesting. Interesting. A lot there. Now, I have to ask you about the Free Association's origin story here. How did the FA come about?
I wish it had a really interesting origin story. Neither of my parents were murdered in a back alley.
No. Joe Chill.
How did it start? I had a couple of friends, a couple of comedian friends called Max and Ivan, and we had been talking about how we wanted to set up an improv theatre in school because I I think really, I guess to take a bit further back, I originally discovered improv when I lived briefly in America, where it's a very huge institution.
There's a wide improv community, especially in Chicago, New York, LA.
Yeah. It's massive, and it has been for decades. And I think over this side of the pond, gross. I can't believe I said that.
Pond.
People don't really appreciate how big and influential it is. Like you throw a stone in America, you'll hit a comedian who's been through an improv school.
Absolutely.
So I really wanted there to be more of that in the UK. So it started out of just a conversation. We didn't really we weren't really that ambitious at the start. We just wanted to sort of set up a group, and then the group kind of became a regular thing, and then the school happened. But I've always wanted there to be more of it.
Yeah. Did you face any obstacles along the way in setting up the Free Association?
Yes. Everyone hates improv.
That's a pretty big speed bump.
It's a big, fairly significant obstacle that is still is there a little bit. I mean, in all seriousness, though, I think that is still the big.
Why do people? Why? I think. Do you think there's an incorrect perception of improv?
Yeah, totally. I think people do. I think there's still a perception of it, especially in this country, is seeing it as quite naff. And I think people do still, they see, they're slightly haunted maybe by the spectre of like,
by the
very dodgy short form show they maybe got dragged to see. Or
we've all seen that, and we've all done it. I was a student once.
Yeah, right. And I think it is, and it's one of those things that, yes, unfortunately, because of the very nature of it, it can be absolutely terrible, especially like done badly. I guess like anything, but it's maybe easier to see bad stuff of it, and I think so it does suffer from a perceptions problem, and that's been a bit of a
excellent. I've just got one more question for you. It's a bit of a big one, I know. So the FA recently celebrated their 5th birthday.
Yes.
So, what's next for the Free Association? And I know this is a grand question, what is next for the perception of improv in the comedy scene?
Wow.
I know, very heavy. Keep it short.
What's next for the FA? We're doing a big sort of 2-week takeover at the Vault Festival in Waterloo soon. So we're doing a big showcase of about 9 or so of the shows that we do at the theatre. What's next for improv? I personally would like more people, especially in the industry, to understand how improv works and understand how to use it more, because it really just teaches you how to be an amazing comedy performer and writer, and it's such an invaluable skill both in the industry and at large. So.
Very important. Well, thank you so much. That's all we have time for, sadly, Graham. But in 5 more years, I expect you to come in here on a sedan chair on a platform carried by people, the godfather of British improv.
I expect so too.
Let's sort it out. OK, it's been a long day, and that means I need a good, stiff, nicely pressed blanket and a nap. But I'm working, so I'll settle for several cocktails. In 2016, Sian Wong's menu creation won Time Out's Best New Bar in the UK. She's worked in Sydney, Paris, London, and now, of course, the Amsterdam of Buckinghamshire, Beaconsfield. Sian Wong.
Oh.
Here I come.
Hey, Chaz.
Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you. Thanks for having me here.
Supposed to be a cooler entrance than it was.
That was pretty slick.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to have you here. Now, I understand that you'll be treating us to some very exciting, delicious alcoholic delights.
Yes. So I'm going to make a variety of 3 different twist on classic cocktails. Really delicious, really simple, easy to replicate at home, which is kind of the idea. With our star and hero of the show, our Oxley Gin. Linen dry, cold distilled, absolutely delicious. And then we've got a little bit of Nolly Prat, which is a dry vermouth, and Saint-Germain, elderflower liqueur. So all delicious products that you can get anywhere.
Excellent. Now, I understand that there's a special homemade ingredient that should be taking part in this.
Just to kind of show how easy it is to kind of like personalise and create your own versions of these classics, I've created a chamomile cordial, but then a cordial is just a really great tool for you to kind of dress your drinks up, or you can buy from the shop if you don't have to do that. But if you did want to create your own, then this is a really easy way to do it. So I've made chamomile cordial from some really lovely fresh chamomile flowers.
Ooh. That's very nice.
Have a little smell.
Oh, that is a beautiful smell.
It's delicious. So yeah, a cordial is super simple. It is basically sugar, a solution, and then a little bit of acidity added to that.
A little bit of acidity. So you mean you actually
acidity.
put acid in it?
I do, yeah, every time, yeah. This time I'm using tartaric.
I'm a bit of a layman, so that sounds like some science experiment, but it's actually very straightforward, isn't it?
It is very, very simple to do, yeah. Okay, so I'll start by making the amazing gimlet. So gimlet's one of my favorite, all-time favorite cocktails.
I've never actually had a gimlet before.
Well, this is very exciting.
It's the first time for everything.
Pop your gimlet cherry. So it's one of the classic cocktails that relies upon its non-alcoholic counterpart as well as a very good solid spirit. So obviously we're going to be using Oxley gin in this. And then it just has an amazing history of like popping up in lots of different places in the world, but not actually from one place due to the naval history associated.
All right, so it travelled sort of from port to port.
Port to port, from Rangoon to Singapore to New York, and lots of different variations. Yeah, using gin and cordial.
Lovely. So how much cordial are we putting in here?
So I'm just going to do 15 mils of my chamomile cordial.
Very nice.
45 mils of Oxley.
That's
per drink.
just under a double shot, is it?
Yeah, so it's like a healthy portion, but not too much.
Yes, maths.
So it's kind of not as strong as a martini. It's kind of like your gateway to a martini, but not quite ready for that yet. This is a really good way to start out. And then, like any good stirred down up drink, we're just going to add some ice and stir it down.
Those guys.
Those are chunky. For sure.
Amazing.
All right, and then we just stir it down to the right temperature and dilution.
Lovely.
For a moment or two.
That is a beautiful stirring spoon, I would say.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I brought it from home myself. But yeah, so this setup is like really easy to kind of create. Like you can just do this at home with your own chopping board. Just a spoon, some good ice from the shop, obviously good spirit, cordial if you want to make it, and then I would say give it a good minute or so. When you see it kind of like frosted up on the side, then it should be about done.
Gorgeous frost.
And then I just always like to check it with a little thermometer. You can also use that to stir, and you should get it down to about -2.
That's -2.
Yeah.
Lovely. That's incredible.
Sub-zero delicious. Gimlet as it should
Wonderful.
be.
Now I know I shouldn't be pestering you with a lot of questions because we've still got. You've got two more to show off.
More drinks to go,
more to show off to us, which you need to, which I can't wait to see. But where could people get this? I understand that you've placed these cocktails throughout a couple of locations.
Yeah. So at the minute we've done a partnership with SE1 and Bermondsey Street in London. So we've got some amazing bars and restaurants that are doing these takes on our classic cocktails. So we have...
Such as, I understand you have a variation on a G&T as well.
Variation on a G&T in Chapter 72, which do amazing coffee, and we'll be doing a masterclass there as well if you guys want to learn about Oxley gin and more cocktails. Gimlet in the Garrison that has a pairing menu with the food. Picnic also has the white Negroni, which is what I'm just about to do.
Very nice. Well, yes, I think we have just enough time for a white Negroni.
Amazing. Okay, great. Let's speed up that.
Let's do it rapid fire without losing any of the artistry.
Amazing. I think that can be...
Because as we all know, the greatest works of art happen under pressure. The Mona Lisa was painted in 25 minutes because Leonardo's Uber was outside. We all know that.
We all totally knew that. I totally knew that.
That's a fact.
New at all. Yeah. So Saint-Germain, Nolly Prat, gin with the Negroni, and then a little bit of Gentian aperitif, just to give it the extra bitterness, because it is a Negroni after all. So 2 dashes of those. And then, hopefully, that should be ready.
You can watch this back on YouTube at half speed to pick all of that up.
Yeah. Great. So...
Look at that
I'll
cube.
stir that down. Yeah, no, these cubes are massive. Should have... I mean, if you stir this down, it will eventually...
It will eventually.
Pop down the bottom there, yeah.
Is this a specific stirring spoon?
It is just a specific smaller stirring spoon.
I just thought because it was such
I've never thought about that before,
such an intricate design, I thought it was a special tool which had a special name.
No,
but no, it's just a spoon.
It's a bar spoon of different sizes. So if you go to Japan, they have like amazing bar equipment, and they have very specific sizes. So you can buy the full range from something that's like 2 foot tall to like all the way down here. And this one just kind of tickled my fancy.
Oh, lovely.
Brilliant.
And that is a perfect white Negroni.
And this is a perfect white Negroni, a variation of a white Negroni. And Oxygen works really, really well with grapefruit. I've provided like an array of garnishes here so that you can kind of choose as I slice it.
They saw the drinks coming out.
Yay, brilliant.
It's so great, Sia.
Okay.
You are. You're a thirsty boy, Graham. I know this.
Soda water?
As I said, I've never tried a gimlet before.
Gimlet.
Gimlet? Gimlet?
Gimlet.
Gimlet. What am I saying? Gimlet's a character from Lord of the Rings, Chas. Now,
Gimlet for you. Sorry.
Thank you very much.
So we also have one more gimlet and a Negroni.
Oh, go on. I've never had a Negroni before.
Really?
Well, thank you very much.
Very welcome.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you so much. Chin, happy birthday to the FA again.
Happy birthday to the FA.
Very kind.
Right.
But you're all saying happy birthday. I'm just getting on with it.
Enjoy.
Ooh.
Oh, that is lovely. Now,
That's all right. Amazing.
Now, if people wanted to learn more about your recipes for cocktails, where could they find it?
So if you check out my Instagram on Sian Wonderwong, then I'll be posting recipes, activations, interesting events, and if you have any questions, you can shoot them over. They'll all be on my Instagram.
Sian Wong, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I would like to thank all of our guests from today.
I also would like to thank all of our guests today.
You're always stealing my thunder.
You've got really good thunder.
And yet, horrible parking. No bother, let's peer into the future. Tomorrow we have anthropologist Celine Tang, a review of the new musical And Juliet, and musical guest Escape to the Box.
Now here's the Dirty Buns!
Dark streets of the city. Jockeys have been so many scenes in a suburban trance with time to reflect. It's cold.